Lights up, TD Garden roars. Jason Tatum on the floor. Porzingis with the step back three, and yet they got a $20 million center in Luke Cornett. Jaylen Brown, full court sprint. Fast breakdown, crowds lit. Derek White with the lockdown D. Every game feels like history. Highlights, reaction, all season long. Your Celtics source with the intro song. Big takes, play-by-play and analysis. Sit back and relax, you don't wanna miss.
Turnovers, physicality, but mostly just turnovers was the reason that the Celtics lost this game tonight. Jason Tatum comes back and he was fantastic, pretty efficient to be honest. 10 of 22 overall, 4 of 10 from 3, 36 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, but 7 turnovers, 19 for the team. I don't even know a game when they've had 19 turnovers. And, the Magic just basically turned the Celtics off in that third and fourth quarters. Celtics had a 10-point lead quickly into the third quarter. And then, Jason Tatum actually comes out of the locker room first half, and their first possession is a wide open three for Jason Tatum, which he knocks down. And then from there, the Magic tighten up, they turn up the intensity, the physicality, and the Celtics offense just goes cold. They finish the game, 9 of 27 from 3, so just 33%, which is not that bad. And it's not like the Magic shot any better from 3, 8 of 32, just 26%, right? And, the Magic are always going to be a pretty bad offensive team in all of these games. But they just went to a whole nother level of, pushing the Celtics around, making them, work for every shot, injuring guys, like not on purpose or anything, but they certainly, didn't let Jason Tatum get to a spot. Jason Tatum went pretty cold in that second half, and the Celtics luckily stayed in it because of their star power. But like the Magic controlled pretty much the second half, third quarter and fourth quarter. Paolo Banchero, he's been the one guy for the Magic that has been, been here, been in every game consistently, providing offense. Right, he's an MVP type player, in the future. Right, he scores 29 points, on 10 of 25 shooting, so not very efficient, but he is, just a pure, let me get to the basket. You can't stop me. He's basically a bigger version of Jaylen Brown. He plays very much the same way, bullying his way, backing down smaller guys like Derek White, and it really didn't help that Celtics didn't have Jrue Holiday in this one. Right, he was sitting out with some sort of soreness that they were resting him for. But it hurt because Paolo was going off, and then for the first time in this series, Franz basically one-ups Paolo's game, and Wendell Carter Jr. Made some contributions as well late in the game. Wendell Carter Jr. actually had 0 points in the first half, finishes the game with 10. I think 8 of those 10 were in that fourth quarter. But Franz, basically Celtics. There's one play where the Celtics dared him to shoot, left him wide open, and he, knocks it down and is like looking up to the heavens, praying, basically saying, "Thank God that I made this." I mean, yes, that's normally the right strategy, and you got to live with those types of shots, but it's not like it was one of those games where you know, the Magic just shot the lights out of the ball. They struggled to shoot, but when you give a guy 10 open looks, he's going to make 3 of them. And it's not like, it's inefficient because, on the other end, the Celtics couldn't score on the Magic's basically clamps defense. Um, I think it's, I think, this is a game where, the Celtics say they were the tougher team. For the first 2 games, they were definitely the tougher team. But, you look at this game and you're like, maybe they weren't just the tougher team. They were just, out had more star power and were able to make shots where the Magic didn't. But when it gets into a grind like this in crunch time, the Magic prevail. Actually, they went up 10 with like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The Celtics get it all the way down to about a one possession. Actually, it was two. Yeah, one possession. Like 15 seconds left, and Jason Tatum deflects the ball out of Paul Banchero's hands, and it goes into the backcourt. And the ref blows sort of an inadvertent whistle, and so they have to stop the clock. And it's obviously the same time. It's not like they lost any time, but you had them trapped, and now they get a free, basically walk out of it with a side out of bounds. That was unfortunate. And then also unfortunate, their last shot they couldn't get a good amount of time to inbound the ball for the last possession of the game because the rebound off of Franz deep three went so far away from where Jason Tatum and Derek White were waiting for the rebound that it took maybe 1 or 2 seconds off the clock, and it's 0.3 seconds on the clock when they called the timeout. Honestly, there should have been 0.8 seconds at least, but the refs don't look at the whistle, which I think is poor officiating on that part. But I can't be a guy to complain about it because you know they the Celtics struggled to get into that position. Like, you shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. But the Celtics do play Sunday, and I think a big takeaway from this is obviously Jason Tatum looked good shooting wise, better actually than than his first game where he wasn't injured, which is good to see. Jaylen Brown, his energy looks pretty good for the most part. He didn't have a big scoring night. Well, he scores 19 points. It wasn't as big as the first two. Obviously, he had to have a big game in game 2 with Jason Tatum out. But it was just the turnovers. Like, basically, the Magic just trapping at weird angles. Crashing the boards. A lot of not non calls on both sides, and the Magic took advantage of that. There's one play where I think it was Caldwell Pope again who throws or locks Jaylen Brown's arms up so he can't get a shot and throws him to the ground. It ends up being a flagrant one, but the Magic are okay living with that. If it bruises them up, which is the way they have to play because they're never going to win a shooting battle or just a straight up basketball game if they don't try and muck it up somehow. Other things that were not great. Sam Hauser plays 13 minutes, takes one shot, 0 of 1 from 3, and gets a rebound, an assist, and other than that, nothing. Hasn't made a shot yet in the series. Looks out of sync. Maybe this just isn't the series for him with the way Orlando plays their defense. Maybe he can't match the switches and the physicality. He hasn't been bad on the defensive end, but there's no point in having him out there if you can't knock down a shot, which he just hasn't been able to do. Luke Cornett, right? He's been struggling as well in this series. He had a much better game today. Was one of only 4 players that were a plus in net rating. He actually had a team high +8. He was good in this one. He had a great putback dunk, 6 rebounds as well. Was pretty good offensive glass as well as 2 steals. Um, but still, you would like to see more of that. They went with Al Horford in the starting lineup with Jrue Holiday sitting. So I think Sam Hauser, Payton, Luke Cornett. This is just not the game for them, not the series for them. And Pritchard, who had a great first 2 games, was basically nowhere to be found in this one. Just 3 points, had 3 turnovers as well. Didn't take a single 3. Was 1 of 2 on field goals. And he had 2 steals as well. But you were relying on Payton Pritchard in the first 2 games to make up for some of the absences of guys like Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett, Jason Tatum, and when he just doesn't show up, the Magic don't even score 100 points. They've only scored 100 points in 1 game so far this series, and that was the game where they scored 101 in game 2. But still, you're unable to, or Payton Pritchard, when he goes ice cold like this, or it's not even ice cold, he just, the way the Magic were playing him, he just didn't even get to attempt a shot. He got played off the floor, basically. And so that was a huge reason why the Celtics, couldn't get their offense going. But I'm not worried yet. I think the longer the series goes on, though, the more guys are getting banged up. But they got to find a way to close these out. Game 4 on Sunday, and then Game 5. I think it's Tuesday, maybe Wednesday next week. I'm not sure, but I will be live for both those games after the game for live reaction, post-game show. But in the meantime, please follow me on social media. This weekend we will have tons of highlights, film breakdowns, different clips on other games as well. So make sure to check that all out. And until next time, go Celtics.
It's over. Time to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18 has been secured.